Good morning, everyone. Ryan and Tiffany Kelly coming today with a much requested and anticipated spinal update video for Tiffany. It's been something that she's been unfortunately having to deal with for a little over 3 years.
3.5 years now.
Geez, 3.5 years. But we want to be able to give this update because we have a lot of really good news for this update. We are literally leaving
Monday morning,
which is today's Saturday. Got to give you a hint as far as getting this video out to you, trying to get it out to you quickly. Yeah, we're leaving in less than 48 hours for Maryland to her surgeon.
Yeah, we're going to have surgery. Surgery is going to be Wednesday morning.
Yep,
so
Wednesday morning, the
coming
29th.
up fast.
It is, but we're definitely super excited about this because as all of you out there know who've been following us, you know what she's been unfortunately having to deal with.
We thought, okay, we put out some videos. There may be somebody out there who's experiencing what I'm going through and maybe I can get some feedback or some help or in the right direction. And we did. We really did.
That's true. That's right.
We had a few clients that reached out and said, Fraser Henderson out of Washington, D.C. And I looked him up and didn't really know exactly that he was going to be the one that was for me. But over time, we kind of just let months go by and I was waiting to see how the symptoms would come out more. And I just realized the more I would wash my hair or the more I would go get my hair done, that's where all my symptoms would flare up really bad. I have really bad flare-ups. And then I just started to write down my symptoms. Then it was one time after the shower, it was just like a light bulb. I'm like, it's instability. And so I immediately got on a Facebook group and looked up craniocervical instability and started to see other people. And it was 90% sure. I was like, Ryan, this is what I have. I couldn't even sleep that night. I'm like, this is me.
Yeah, she was so excited that it looked like she had finally figured out what this was.
Yes, because I have been, anybody knows, if you have debilitating symptoms at times, or if you have something that is just literally taking over your life, you're going to research it. You're not going to just give up.
Right.
And there's no way. So many doctors were like, it's in your head, or they misdiagnosed me with the wrong stuff.
You're like, come see daddy. All right, come here.
They misdiagnosed me with the wrong stuff. They put the wrong thing on my chart. So if I were to go to the ER, I would have to go to the ER because it was very, very scary symptoms at times. My walking would be bad, my breathing, all kinds of things. And as soon as I went there, they just looked at my chart and they dismissed me and sent me home.
Yeah, they literally chalked it up to anxiety, is what one of the doctors did. They literally told her it was all in her head. So I'm sure that there's people out there who are watching this right now who are experiencing the same thing, or maybe you know a friend or a loved one who's experiencing this. Don't give up, and by all means, look up Dr. Fraser Henderson and cranial instability because he really does explain a lot. And unfortunately, there's other doctors out there who Tiff and I both felt just kind of kicked the can down the road. They were just like, oh, it's anxiety. It's all in your head.
Mm-hmm. And you get sent from doctor to doctor because nobody knows the symptoms. They've never heard of the symptoms. So it's the same thing. You're going around in circles. You're going from doctor to doctor. Everything's a dead end. So
if you would, sorry to interrupt, go over some of your symptoms just so that they know also, again, for some of you watching out there, you might have had a lot of her symptoms. You might be going through a lot of her symptoms. Well, this might be able to point you in the right direction.
I have a whole list of symptoms. I have a whole bunch. Every day was kind of different. But as soon as you sit up, you just got heaviness. You felt like heaviness from the head down through the whole back. When you lean over, it's like extra vertigo. When I would wash my hair, I would have weakness through all my legs. It was very heavy to pick up my feet and walk. I had breathing issues now that I'm really getting into, especially now when I get my hair washed that I didn't have before. I have tingles through my arms and my fingers. So when I would wake up, it's like I had heaviness of the head and then things would change over time. But the more I would wash my hair, the more I would go get my hair done, that's when the symptoms would be coming out worse. Like yesterday, I have been washing my hair with a neck brace, getting it done at a salon for the past 1.5 years. I can't do it myself anymore because I will completely have the hardest time breathing and it's very scary.
Well, and a couple of times she's gotten so dizzy. It's basically because of the weight of the water on her hair. It literally just adds to that compression of the spinal, C1, C2 in her neck.
Yes. So I will have, like, my legs will be very heavy. It will be very hard to lift up my feet to walk, major dizziness, vertigo. I have pain on my left side, which I don't really have pain unless, there's a lot of weight on my head. I have breathing issues. You have slowed down breathing. You have rapid heart rate. You have tingles and numbness in the fingers. I have difficulty swallowing for a good full day after I do my hair. The last time I dyed my hair was in April this year, which, if you've been following us for a while, this is not my normal hair color. I'm like blonde. Yeah, so this has been a while.
For all you blondes out there, yes.
So it's been a while, and it was just not worth it for me anymore, the symptoms. So we called up his office and I sent in some paperwork. We booked a phone call because he's like 7-8 hours away. And the other thing is, it's very hard for me to travel in a car. I have not been able to fly since September of 21. It took me like a year to recover from that flight. I was so scared to even go an hour away from home, just the symptoms. I've gotten a memory foam to go in the car to sit on to lessen the bumps and everything. I have to wear my neck brace for every single ride. So he was like, well, you have to come see me. That was a really scary trip, but we made it and everything was fine. Yeah, my body was just
like a 7-hour drive.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the biggest, or one of the earliest, hills that we had to climb, and that she had to climb when we first started talking to Dr. Henderson, was because we realized that he was many hours north of us. And she can't fly. She can't fly. But she couldn't ride in a car for more than half hour, 45 minutes typically. So we didn't know how we were going to limp her up there.
I just always felt like this was my spinal cord, and I felt like I was giving myself permanent damage. And if everybody's telling me there's no answers, you're never going to find an answer, then that's scary. Like, I'm thinking, if I'm continuing to get worse, how am I going to be at 50 years old? How am I going to survive this?
What are you saying about 50 years old? You got to dig about 50 years old?
He's 50. He's going to be 52.
Anyway. Oh my goodness.
So go ahead. Yes. So you're going downhill so fast, and I was getting worse by the week, sometimes by the day, with zero answers. That's scary. So, but in making that trip, it was very scary to see what my body would feel like after 7 hours. But we did take a few stops and got out and walked.
Well, and Dr. Henderson actually sent her, I call it the Terminator 3 neck brace. It's this really hard neck brace collar.
Hard collar.
Yeah. And
cervical.
And just, kind of jumping back a little bit, that's one of the first things that he did to actually try to diagnose her issues. We had about an hour-long conversation with him, which Dr. Henderson, if you ever see this, thank you so much for actually taking the time with us, because no other doctor took that kind of time with us. It was one of the first things that I really appreciated from him, because the other doctors that we met with, I got pissed. Like, I got really upset because they would give her 5 minutes and then try to run down the hall to somebody else. It's like nobody took the time.
As soon as you go into my symptoms, they're like, that's not me.
Well, so Dr. Henderson took the time and he came up with this theory about the cervical instability. But so Dr. Henderson gave the neck brace and basically told her to wear that for 2 weeks, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You had to literally have it on throughout everything.
Even sleeping.
Yeah, even sleeping.
I only took it off to eat and shower.
Yeah. And so what that did was it basically, obviously secured her neck, and he wanted to see what would happen with her symptoms. And lo and behold, her symptoms got a lot more manageable.
I had symptoms that actually went away since then. I've had certain things. It's like it put my discs back in place and helped the support.
Yeah, it kind of helped it. Go ahead. Well, and then, so that's what we basically use. Oh, and then he told her to take it off for a week and see if the symptoms came back. And lo and behold, boom, they came right back. So when we had to limp her up to Maryland, she had to wear that neck brace the whole way through. And it actually really helped her to make that drive. She was pleasantly surprised, and we were really happy about that.
If I accidentally forget to wear it, like on the drive home or so, especially if I'm on a highway for like 5 minutes, the next day I'm not feeling well.
Yeah. So when we got up to DC, some of the tests that Dr. Henderson did were, again, tests that we had actually asked for multiple times through multiple doctors, and nobody would do it. It's like the doctors here in the U.S. were like, "No, she doesn't need it. No, we don't see a reason for it," because she was doing a standardized MRI and went through 30 passes or something.
32 scans I had in
unbelievable.
less than a year and a half.
And so nobody would do the seated MRI. Yeah, the upright seated MRI that we kept on requesting. And then Dr. Henderson performed not only that one, which is the seated MRI, which looks like you're going to get put into a spaceship, basically.
Yes, we'll add the pictures and
yeah. You're probably seeing the pictures right now in the videos. So upon getting up to Washington D.C., one of the main things that we were looking forward to is finally getting what's called a seated MRI. We were finally able to get that done, and then
yes, and it took about 2 years. We tried to get a seated MRI. So we do have an upright MRI machine about 30 minutes from here, but they don't specialize really much in the head.
Well, and they wouldn't do it. No. They just flat out wouldn't do it.
No, they did it for my lumbar.
Yeah.
But anyway, so these type of doctors that do the craniocervical and atlantoaxial instability, there's 3 tests in order to get diagnosed with that they need. One is a DMX, it's a digital motion X-ray. Another one is the upright MRI with flexion extension showing the skull and how it moves. And then the third one is a rotational CT scan. So I was diagnosed with atlantoaxial instability off of a rotational CT scan, which is a surprise to me because atlantoaxial was, I didn't know anything about that. And I wasn't aware that that was going to be one of my diagnoses. It turned out to be my biggest diagnosis. And then my other thing is I was diagnosed with craniocervical instability off of the upright MRI. So he does the scans and then he measures, and my skull slides 7 millimeters forward more, but forward and back. And the normal person should be 2 millimeters and under. And then on the rotational CT is you do it's like a normal CT, but you turn your head, laying down, you turn your head completely to the left side and completely to the right side. And then they take the scans that way. And when I turn my head to the left, my C1 rotates over C2 90%, and I'm about 10% from dislocation. So it exposes C2 completely. And that was subluxation. It was atlantoaxial subluxation, like medical terms.
Amazing. This bone here should be covering this bone here.
Okay.
See how these joints, these joints slide a little bit, and maybe with full turning, they might, lose a little bit of coverage, like half, but yours lose 90%, a little bit more there, and it would be dislocated.
Atlantoaxial instability.
In short, basically what we thought, we aren't doctors, but we thought would be the issue. Yeah, some kind of thing within the spinal cord wasn't getting the support. It turned out to be multiple different things where it's rotating too much left to right and backwards and forwards.
Yes, my skull slides forwards and backwards, and my ligament on my left side is completely out. There's no more support from the left side.
Which is another reason why she has to wear that collar, especially when riding in a car.
Yes. A lot of people also don't know how I got to this situation and what has caused this. But so we can put that in there. How people get craniocervical instability and atlantoaxial instability. Basically, there's 2 different ways. There's injury and traumas, and there's EDS. And I do not have EDS, but a lot of people with EDS do have where the ligaments don't hold. It's a connective tissue disorder. I don't know too much about it. This is not a medical video to make anyone aware of anything, so I'll put that out there as well. But all the little bit of knowledge that I have found out about it, people with EDS do get craniocervical instability and atlantoaxial over time. And I do have a friend that has that. And they have a whole different situation though than I do. But it is more of a rare thing to find others out there. The main thing is trauma to the head and trauma to the neck and whiplashes. Anybody with whiplashes, which I've had, I think 3 whiplashes, pretty good ones to the head, to the neck. And I've been hit in the back of the head twice. That's really been bad, from anaphylaxis passing out, and I hit my head on the granite countertop, and I was hit in the back of the head from a ski lift. So
that was with me.
It's all injuries to the head. That's kind of what causes it, and then ligaments to wear out over time. So then when I was doing the deadlift in the gym and the disc popped out and I C4 C5, I already had the issue in my neck. We just didn't know it yet. And that's when everything kind of just went as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
So the good news is, yet again, we are getting this fixed, which is absolutely wonderful. So the trip to Washington, D.C., of course, what many of you guys saw on our social media, was a really, really productive trip. We were so happy to be able to meet with Dr. Henderson.
Meet him, go over everything. Yeah. Finally get diagnosed with something. That was the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. And have answers.
Yes.
And it was just such a weight off my shoulders, and then be like, I still can't believe it. So,
and we even got to do some sightseeing,
yes,
which was cool
so
too. Yeah.
Fun.
So after that, after the meetings, we were like, well, what do we do now? So we still had a couple extra days. So we jumped over to DC, stayed there for a couple of days, and
we stayed like a block away from the White House.
Yeah, beautiful place.
I've never been to DC or seen the White House. So
yeah, I haven't been to DC since I was a kid, so it was really, really nice to see. So we got to do a lot of sightseeing and
had like a little stuff. Mini vacation.
Yeah.
So we haven't had a vacation since 2019.
It's been forever since we've had a vacation together. You know. Obviously, because of her injury, she hasn't been able to go anywhere. We can't fly or anything else. But it was nice, Yeah,
it was really nice.
And so one of the other fun things was with the sightseeing, we found out that while we were there, apparently some followers of our YouTube channel saw us.
Oh, yes. They held the door for us.
They apparently held the door for us going into a souvenir shop.
Yeah.
And then we posted it on social media. Though of course we were in DC, and they literally wrote back in and they were like, "Oh, we thought that was you," but then we
we held the door for you.
But why would you be in DC? Yeah. So we weren't sure. But yeah, so for anyone out there, if you ever see us out and about, please by all means come up and say hello.
Always come up and say hello.
Yeah, we love to meet you and shake hands and hugs and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So by the time you guys are watching this video, I probably would have already been through surgery. Mm-hmm. It's going to be Wednesday at 7:30 a.m., November 29th. And then I'm going to be in the hospital. It's going to be they said 2.5 hour surgery. So they're going to put in screws and rods, and then they're going to do a fusion of the C1 and C2. They're going to put a plate on the right side, I believe, and to stabilize it. So it's going to be a C1, C2 fusion with stabilization and a bone graft as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to put a piece of bone in where the spacing.
Right.
And then I believe also they're going to take bone marrow from my hip. It's a harvest bone. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to do that so it heals properly and forms a really good fusion for the stabilization.
As you can tell, she's in really good hands. We cannot be happier that Dr. Fraser Henderson is performing the surgery. She's done more research than I ever would have imagined. I mean, she knows everything she possibly could about this. Fraser Henderson is always at the top of the list. And again, we've even had some clients who have gone through him and have written to us and say, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe you got Fraser Henderson. He's the best. He changed my life." So again, for those of you out there, thank you very much
again. Looking
for
the same results.
Yeah. Thank you very much again for writing in and giving her that peace of mind. It really helps.
Yeah.
So she'll be in recovery for 3 days?
3 days in the hospital I have to be. And he's going to get me up the next day and get a little bit of walking in and see how I do. And then they want us to be in DC for about 2 weeks. So I have a follow-up with him December 7th. And then I'm hoping to drive back December 8th.
Yeah, and that's the plan.
That's the plan.
She'll make it. She's strong. She'll make it.
Yes.
But yes, of course, please continue to follow us on all of our social media, Facebook and Instagram of Ecuador Shores Realty. We'll be doing as many updates as we can. I'll be doing a lot of Instagram stories and things like that. Mm-hmm. And again, we just cannot thank y'all enough for all of your love and support throughout this time that she's been going through this. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it really is just heartfelt.
Keep them coming.
Yes, absolutely. We can always use the good vibes. Absolutely.
Gotta go through the hardest part right now, the surgery, and just a great recovery. And
we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
So again, thank you very much for joining us on this video. We really appreciate it. You have all become like family to us, and we just cannot thank you enough for your love and support. Please continue, of course, to follow us on all of our social media. Instagram, Facebook,
YouTube
of Ecuador Shores Realty, and our custom website of EcuadorShoresRealty.com.
Yes.
And until the next video.
Great, safe, and happy holidays to you guys.
Absolutely. You guys have a wonderful holiday. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
It's just gonna get. I am. I'm filming the whole thing.
Okay, good.
Surprise! You're on camera.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna make it simple.
Right?
Daddy, are you camera ready? Huh? Are you camera ready? Daddy?
So the trip to DC again was actually very good because of that neck brace.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He did.
Yep.
Deer in the headlights.
I didn't know it was gonna be that fast. That's my cue. So by the time this video is coming on released, nope, edit that.